Hello everyone, Sasuke419 here, and I know it's been a long time. It's been over a year. Honestly, I kind of feel like Linkara a little bit, but trust me, I feel better now that I'm finally done with school. I'm a college graduate, no more school for life. So, I finally had a chance to finish this video. So without further ado, I want to give you guys Sonic topics to get off my chest, episode 4, Princess Sally Edition. Right after the intro. Okay, now that I had you wait a little bit longer, sorry guys, I gotta do it. I just gotta have a little bit of fun. But anyway, on to serious business now. Yes, like I said before the intro, this topic is a long one. It's a hefty topic. That's one of the reasons why it took me so long to finish this. I did months and months of research. I tried to go through every bit of forums, or ask people in general why they liked or disliked Sally Acorn. So I decided I was going to go through all the main points, all the ones I keep seeing why people hate Sally so much, and apply them and see what we have for Sally. Now, keep in mind, I did a lot of research on this topic to get as accurate as I possibly could with the reasons why a lot of people have such an issue with this character. I'm going to bring up a lot, and I do mean a lot of reasons why people don't like Sally, and break down her character and try to explain a few things about her, and hopefully you all will have a better understanding and possibly even respect out of our heroine. So, let's begin. One of the first things I hear about Sally, why people don't like her, is that she's not official. Really, guys? Just because she's not officially in the Sonic games, you hate her? That's the reason to hate her? If you want to be technical, she and the other Freedom Fighters did make an appearance in Sonic Spinball as a bonus stage. But even still, this is Archie's Sonic, not Sega Sonic. There are a lot of characters that people don't like that won't show up in the games, and they never complain about them. Even the ones that people do like, you know, like Hershey and Bunnie and them, they're not in the games, but you like them anyway. So think about this from this perspective. What about other comic book companies? I'm looking more specifically at Marvel, for example. With their main series, you have the Marvel Universe and the Ultimate Marvel Universe, and so on and so on. Different stories going on with the same characters, and nobody really complains about that. And also, if she isn't official, then Sega wouldn't have cared that she had died back in issue 47, or even care about the comic now. You know, because they aren't official or anything, so Sega would have, you know, Sega mandates for Archie to follow, or have Sega representatives actually keep an eye on the comic. You know, clearly, because she's not official and everything, and they really don't care what's going on with them and the characters. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to another reason why people don't like her. Another reason that pops up is why people don't like Sally is because she's naked. This is another one I never understood. First of all, she's a cartoon character. Okay? Second, she's an anthropomorphic animal. I can't count how many naked female animals that were on TV back in the 90s, and even some today. I can't explain why so many people have an issue just with Sally. Plus, if we're just looking at Sonic female characters, then let's look at all the females that show revealing areas that a normal woman wouldn't wear. You know, since these are real people and so many people are concerned because she's naked, that means any woman who's topless or any woman who's bottomless fits into this category. So let's just look at some of these pictures. Oh, and did you guys know originally Bunnie Rabbit's pink leotard, her trademark pink leotard that she always wears, don't you know that was originally her stomach, and she didn't have a leotard until what, in the 30s or 40s issues? So yeah, at one point she was topless. She was probably bottomless too, because her leotard, the bottom of it didn't get colored in until I believe 40s or 50s, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But it's safe to assume that Bunnie was officially naked at one point as well. And nobody complains about that. Or Barbie Koala. Or Julie Sue. Even your precious Hershey the cat. Oh yes, some of the people who love Hershey and are upset that Hershey's not in here, look at what she's wearing. Just a vest. And I think she wore some shoes too, or some sandals or something. But she doesn't get any of the slack, but Sally does. So yeah, I'm counting all that too. Again, I'm counting all these characters too, because the private areas, topless areas, normal women wouldn't wear that. They wouldn't wear nothing around there, walk around, since you want to consider her a real character, a real woman. You know, what about Barbie Koala, who's completely naked? What about Nick the Weasel and Fiona Fox? Yes, Fiona Fox was naked for the longest until the jumpsuit. And even, like I said, even Hershey. So, you know, it just boggles the mind that people let everybody else slide, but you hate on Sally for it. And I'm not even gonna include all the male characters that are naked, because there's way too many of them. Including Sonic the Hedgehog, all of them are naked. They just wear shoes or whatever. But that's fine. So a man can walk around naked or whatever. But Sally is fine. It's fine for males, but not fine for Sally. You know, even though they're all anthropomorphic animals, you don't see anything. So who cares? And I'm sorry I'm getting difficult with you guys, but you know, I'm reading some of these forums, and some of these reasons are just, to me, in my opinion, they're idiotic. So now I must say this. Now some of these looks have changed, and we'll get to that later with Sally. Trust me, guys, we'll get to that part later on. But let's see what else people say that has popped up often that I have read. Let's see. She's a whore because she has many love interests. Oh yes, because God forbid a woman likes or dates more than one guy in their life. That would qualify her as a good-for-nothing whore. Because I know none of you guys have ever dated more than one person in your life. Trying to find the one, the soulmate, especially during your teenage years. Oh yeah, I see a lot of married couples now who began dating when they were teenagers and never dated anyone else. And to top it off, how many guys did she really date? Okay? How many guys did she really date? I'm not talking about any guy, and I'm not talking about anybody who like really likes her, but let's just go down the main ones, okay? Sonic, obviously, that's just a given. Antoine, no, she never dated him. Antoine wanted to court her, but she never showed interest, and he moved to Bunnie. Now don't say, but Sasuke, she married Antoine at one point. Well, yes, she did. I have to ask, how many of you actually read the whole comic instead of finding the one picture of them online? Let me explain. For those of you who haven't read it, Sally's father, King Max, commanded her to marry Antoine so he can help Sally rule the kingdom. Sally was not happy with this outcome and even voiced her opinion over it that she did not really want to. However, she reluctantly went through it. She went through it out of obligation towards her nation, even though Antoine was really patched. You know, Antoine's evil twin from the Mobius dimension, where the same one where Scourge is from. Yeah, that patch. So yeah, that was him as Antoine the whole time. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Who else really liked Sally? Knuckles. Oh boy. Okay. Let me explain. Knuckles was Sally's first friend and vice versa. Yes, Sally met Knuckles before she met Sonic. I know you may not want to believe that, or some of you may not want to believe that, but that's the case. It was when Sally and her father took vacations to Floating Island, and for her father to talk with Knuckles' father, Locke. Sally and Knuckles met, and they had each other to play with since they were around the same age. The only time Sally ever showed even the slightest interest in him romantically, and that's stretching it a lot, was when she was furious at Sonic. Well, everyone was at the time in the Mecha Madness special, when everyone thought Sonic deliberately went against their wishes to get roboticized. So, yeah, other than that, it was just a friendship. Nothing more. Now, Monkey Khan. Yeah, I have to admit that she did like the qualities in him that were the same qualities Sonic had. So, my question is, why not just give Sonic another chance then? Well, she realized this herself and told Khan that she was wrong for what she did to Sonic. And trust me, we'll get to that eventually. And wanted to give it another shot. Hey, if Sonic dated Fiona, then Sally could date Monkey Khan, okay? So, again, I don't want to hear it from that. Jeffrey say dumbass, I mean John. Yes, she did go out with him briefly, but after the events of Endgame, she knew as well as Jeffrey knew that her heart was with Sonic's. And technically, honestly, Sonic and Sally were never dating at this point in the comic. So Sally was single. So again, why is she considered a whore? Again, even though Sonic has either dated other people besides Sally, like Fiona, or having Mina and Amy chasing after him, and being a possible love interest for an entire flock of fangirls. Yes, this actually happened in issue 111's backstory. Or what about the tensions between Sonic and Bunnie? Yeah, you heard me, people. Sonic and Sally's best friend, okay? Best friend. And I'm sorry, I just have to laugh at this, because nobody says any of this. Maybe one person, but nobody talks about this. Okay, so Sonic and Sally's best friend, or Sally's best friend Bunnie. Now, you see, for those of you who don't know, back when Bunnie was first introduced in the comics, issue 3 or 4, she always thought Sonic was cute and began to flirt with him. See, Sonic and Bunnie they've had a close relationship, per se. Now, even though this wasn't Sonic, in fact, Evil Sonic, later known to be a Scourge, she was caught behind the bushes making out with him. You know, this is during the time when, Antoine broke up with her, she was single and all the other stuff. Sonic was single, per se, at the time, even though this wasn't Sonic. But, or, if you want to get technical, if that's not enough for you, want to get technical, when Sonic saved Bunnie from Adam, look at what they did. That's right. You see it. They give each other a passionate kiss. I don't care how friendly you are. Okay? No friend kisses that passionately unless they were friends with fucking benefits. Now, Antoine and Bunnie were not together at this time, and neither was Sonic and Sally. But again, Sonic gets a free pass. see other people, but Sally can't? And on top of that, people, please stop hating on Sally just because she's dating or isn't dating Sonic. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I love the Sonic and Sally pairing, okay? It's the first Sonic couple I've seen growing up with Sad AM. And to me, they complement each other. I like that about them. They complement each other. But that doesn't mean I would hate another character for going out with Sonic or Sally. Look, if Sonic and Sally end up together, then that's great in my opinion. But if they don't end up together, then that's fine too. Don't hate a character because they're going out with someone or find something about their, character that they don't like solely because, well, I don't like Sally because, she's going out with Sonic. It should be Sonic and Amy forever. I don't really want to hear that. That's not a reason to hate on someone just because of that. Okay? Find something about their character that you don't like. And I don't mean how they look. I mean personality. That's what makes them unique. That's another small thing I've seen. People don't like Sally because of her color. That was one of the most stupidest things I've seen. I've seen it maybe twice, but it's popped up more than once, so I'm going to talk about it. Why is it that you hate on Sally because of her color? Oh, she's brown. She looks like shit. Do you guys know what Sally is? Sally is a squirrel/chipmunk because her father is a squirrel, her mother is a chipmunk. What color is a chipmunk and a squirrel normally? They're brown. What color is Sally? She's brown. So, I don't understand why that's an issue, but it's a small issue anyway compared to the real meat of the issues. Oh, we're getting to that soon. But since we're on relationships, let me get a couple of points out of the way. Okay? I've seen these pop up a few times on why people hate this character so much. The first being, her and Sonic have kids in the future. And it's not natural for a hedgehog and a squirrel/chipmunk to have kids. Really? Did some of you forget that this is a comic book? That possibly, since it's a comic book, anything can happen in comics and cartoons? What about a fox and a mongoose having kids? Or did you forget Tails and Mina end up having kids? So, yeah, that would happen in the real world. But if you want a logical explanation as to why different animals can have offspring, then let's go back a little bit and see how all this happened. Okay, let's go back a little bit. On Mobius, almost 12,000 years ago, which is somewhere in the year 2000 for our time, so back in the Y2K thing, the first year 2000, maybe 2001, when Mobius was once known as Earth, in case you guys didn't know that in the comics, Mobius was once called Earth. That's our planet. An alien race known as the Zorda attacked the planet with gene bombs. Now, what are gene bombs, you ask? I'll tell you. Gene bombs were supposed to wipe out all life on the planet except for the nature. It's supposed to wipe out all life. But what ended up happening was the gene bomb de-evolved humans into the four-fingered overlanders, which is what the original Robotnik was, and why some of the other overlanders have 4 fingers. They were overlanders because they de-evolved. It also caused rapid evolution in the animal kingdom by combining their DNA with human DNA to create Mobians, the ones we see today. And that human DNA could be the reason, possibly, why different animals can have offspring. So get over it! Please! Another issue that upsets people about Sally is that she is selfish. She's mean to Amy and other girls who have an interest in Sonic. she's selfish. The person who pretty much raised tails and defended him when Fiona tried to play him in the Journey to the East arc is selfish. The person who didn't let Amy go on any missions because she had no experience and didn't want her to get hurt is selfish. Even when she invited Amy to join the Freedom Fighters and they seemed to be on great terms, and lets Amy go on missions with just Amy and Sonic, is selfish. Oh yeah, those are signs of being selfish, alright. What about Mina? Didn't she give advice to Mina on how Sonic ticks and how to get his attention? Is that being selfish? Did Amy or Mina want Sally to die or get all this flack? No. Amy said in issue 222, as long as Sonic was happy, she was happy. Which, for the record, this makes this Amy better than her video game counterpart and Sonic X counterpart, if you want my opinion on that. But again, that's because this Amy is more developed. But again, that's a whole other thing in itself. If you disagree with that, go ahead and disagree. That's my opinion. Mina could have let Sally get shot, but she took the bullet for her. But again, she's being selfish. What about when she sacrificed herself from the world roboticizer? And no, before you say anything, I don't want to hear, oh, it was being forced. How was it being forced? How? Please tell me how it was being forced. Because let's look back at what happened. The roboticizer had minutes before it was going to fire. Sonic was busy dealing with 2 robot versions of himself that can move at his speed. Sonic isn't really a thinker. He leaves that for Sally to do. Nicole was trying to hack into Eggman's base, but they didn't have enough time. There was nothing else Sally could have done in that short amount of time. She knew, she knew what was going to happen. She knew she wasn't immune to the roboticizer, but she wanted to save everyone, so she pretty much chose to kill herself. Again, how is that being selfish? Please answer that question for me. But Sasuke, you forgot about how she slapped Sonic in issue 134. Oh yes, the slap heard around Mobius. The crowning moment in Sally's history that split Sally's fan base in half. Well, yes, I did say in my previous Sonic Topics video that she was way out of character because they risked their lives on every mission. Let's look at this with more detail. Well, yes, Sally is the leader of the Freedom Fighters, and she was going to be active ruler while her parents were on tour with Antoine. Everyone sees her as a leader, and she is obviously a leader. Now, you guys are following me with this, right? Now, her people and her friends, aka troops, seeing how she is leading them into battle, see her as a role model, the one to lead them on. And as a leader, you cannot let your troops or your people see your weaknesses. They can't see you in your weakened state. Personally, I blame the writers at the time. Names will not be said, but you know where I'm getting at. However, in Sally's defense, let's look at how she reacted with everything that was going on with her at the same time. Now remember, guys, all of this was going on at the same time. So let's see if we can try to add some reasoning to this as to why she possibly acted on this. Let's see. Sally is taken from her friends to live in the palace. Yes, because when her parents came back into power, Sally could not hang out with the freedom fighters. Her father didn't want her on the active front lines, so she had to stay in the palace alone, being guarded so she wouldn't leave. She has to deal with an overbearing father and having secrets and everything being kept from her left to right. Remember, she was the leader of the freedom fighters for years. There was no secrets. She knew anything and everything. Now, people are holding stuff and not telling her anything, so she's out of the loop for everything. Okay? That's one thing. Another one, in issue 134. Sally is still a little insecure because she feels she could lose Sonic to Mina. Remember, Mina and Sonic's personalities, they're more the same. So she still felt a little intimidated. So she's still a little insecure. You kind of see it in the panels. And, she kind of drags Sonic away from her. So she's not exactly secure about it. Which is normal. Because, let's face it, people do get insecure in relationships. I don't care what anybody says. Tell me, if you were a man and another woman, if you were a man and another man came in and had more in common with your woman, you wouldn't get intimidated? Or women, if your man had more in common with another woman, you mean to tell me you wouldn't feel intimidated at all? So, again, that's another thing that she probably had going on. But let's continue. Not long after Sonic becomes her boyfriend, remember, because they were going out, what was it? They officially made it around, issue 122, 123, I believe, is when they officially became a couple or / consort. If you guys know what consort, go ahead and look it up. But, not long after this happens, Sonic supposedly dies. Remember in issue 125 where Sonic was going to sacrifice himself? And he does. It made it seem like he was blown into smithereens, but he was actually blown across the universe. But still, everyone thought he died. She had just lost her most closest friend, her boyfriend, and her consort. Okay? Sally can't or couldn't really depend on her friends to help her through this time of need. Because during this time, all of them were pretty much in battle on the front lines. And seeing as how her parents would not let her in the front lines, especially the way she was in her state, obviously, that's another reason why she really didn't have no one to talk to. She really couldn't cope. Okay? Sally must also deal with knowing that the freedom fighter groups and her friends at the time were falling apart. Sonic's death shook everything up. Bunnie and Antoine breaking up, them saying the good old days are gone, everything's changed, all that other stuff. So yeah, so now after Sonic dies, she's watching the bond that the original freedom fighters had were falling apart right before her eyes. That's more stress put on her. You see where this is going, people? You see where this is going? Sonic comes back a year later, and they had a brief reunion, only for her fears to be realized again when M, who was sort of Eggman's robotic daughter, sort of, nearly kills him. And she's watching this too by video. Okay? Remember that. Sally watches Sonic be blown to smithereens as she sees it. And he comes back a year later, only for him to immediately jump into the battle, for him to get shot in the arm and almost die, and she's watching this again. That is too much to bear. If you truly love someone, and this happened to you, that is way too much for you to bear. Sally asks Sonic to fulfill his duties as her consort and future husband, and he refuses. Okay? Now, at first glance, this may not seem like a big deal, but at this point right now, with everything that Sally is going through right now, this is huge. This just hits Sally at home. And here's some reasons. 1. The friend she relied on the most, her most trusted friend, in her mind has just betrayed her. especially when she needed him the most. Sonic promised to be there for Sally, okay? When he agreed to be her consort, and now, despite understandable reasoning that Sally isn't comprehending due to stress, Sally that's one of her flaws, but I'll get into that in a second, one of Sally's flaws. Sonic bails on her. Now, Sally has been an emotional wreck for the last year, and ruling is going to be stressful, especially alone. And without her friends there, because her friends are always on the front lines, she wanted someone to be by her side. What more than the person she loves the most? Also, Sally, she has to be embarrassed. Okay? She's got to be embarrassed. Not only in front of the people, not only the entire population had just seen this happen, but her entire family, specifically her father. Remember when I said earlier how her father did not want Sonic and her to be together because I keep saying King Max thought Antoine would be the better choice to be her future husband. Sally always said Sonic was her better choice. Sonic was this. He was brave. He was admirable. He's always there. He does this. Now her family sees this. So she's really embarrassed after she tried to convince that Sonic would be worthy of her husband. Another reason, Sally, because Sonic refused to step up to his responsibilities and stay on the front line, which again, I understand Sonic's reason. Okay, I understand. But because he chose not to do this, now Sally must constantly worry about him, whether or not he's going to make it out okay in the front lines. Okay, so that's just even putting more stress on her. Remember, she watched him die the first time, or she thought she watched him die. Then he came back and almost died again. And now you're expecting her to always see this, always see Sonic in the front lines, always have Sonic going out without anyone knowing if he's going to make it back alive or not. That is way too much stress one person can take. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says. That's a lot for someone to take. Just imagine if you were Sally. Imagine if that was someone you loved. Someone you truly loved. You thought they died. A year later, they come back. They go out. They almost die again. They promised you to do this. They would do this for you. Or they would be there for you at this point. And right when you need them the most, they turn you down and reject you. And now you're worried about them going back out doing the same thing that almost got them killed twice. Okay? Sally, who had once believed that she meant more than anything to Sonic, must now deal with the fact that she never meant more to him than his adventuring. Because Sonic, apparently, he wanted to be on the front lines. He likes adventure. Don't get me wrong. That's good. But, sometimes you just got to grow up and you can balance both. It's just that all he cared about more was punching out Eggman's lights, and he wanted to be on the front lines. Again, which I can understand Sonic's point of view, but again, with everything going on with Sally at that time, that's too much for her to bear. Okay? Now, with all these burdens piling up one by one, and without the problems ever being fully reconciled, and never having anyone to pick her up for an extended period of time, Sally is truly at her limit. And well, after all of this, she became irrational. And she slapped him. So I know it was drastic, but if you really think about it, Sally has done this. She's made some irrational thoughts before. And this is what I'm about to get into. Okay? Now, some of you will complain being this stressed out for Sally is not in character for Sally. But she has always had this flaw about her. Yes, Sally does have flawed people. She does have some flaws. So she's not perfect. If you don't believe me, let's look at this one. Let's look at these couple of panels. Back in issue 89, Rosie, the one who was who was all the children's caretakers, and she helped raise Sally. She explained that Sally acts irrational. Okay, she acts irrational at times only when there is extreme stress that she is dealing with all at one time. Okay, normally she can handle stress, but when it's too much all at once, she will get irrational, which could have ended up with the events of issue 134, Slap Heard Around Mobius. I know that's me defending it, but at the same time, again, we're just trying to take this apart. Because again, if this happened to anyone else, tell me you wouldn't possibly do the same thing or feel the same thing for Sally. Well, guys, now we move on to one of the biggest reasons why people hate Sally. That is because she's a Mary Sue. Now, first tell me, guys, tell me this. What is the definition of a Mary Sue? Don't worry, I'll wait. In fact, no, I won't wait. I can tell you this right now. That definition has changed dramatically from the 1970s meaning. Okay? So, to cut some time out, and if you want to look at Mary Sue, go ahead and look up the 70s meaning, but I'll give you what it means today. A Mary Sue, pretty much, is a poorly developed character that is too perfect and lacking in any realism to be interesting. You hear that? Poorly developed character that is too perfect and lacking any realism to be interesting. Now, how does this relate to Sally's character? Let's see. Well, she can get very emotional. She can get confused over things when she's under too much stress. Who doesn't? Everyone does this. Everyone has gone through this before, especially in relationships. Because I tell you, relationships ain't easy. Or, going back to earlier, or is dating one person so realistic that everyone has only dated one person. She will seek guidance with others if she feels lost. She has shown regret for some of the choices she has made in the past and tries to grow from them. For example, like above, the dreaded slap everyone always talks about. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking at some of the stuff that people were saying, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, going back to the issue 134, Slap Heard Around Mobius, it was being irrational, but that's too much stuff going on. Again, anybody would have done that. Okay? Anybody. And she does bring up 134 a couple of times. She's learned from them. Isn't that growing as a character? Is that growing? Please tell me, is that not growing as a character? When some of her plans don't work, doesn't she try to improve on them? I'm serious. I'm serious on this. Now, some of her plans, like I said, don't work, even though she's a tactician. I'll give you an example or two. Like when she was roboticized, the first time, in issue 29. She was going to go get roboticized on purpose because they had this chip that Rotor had, and she put it, I believe, in her ear, and if she got roboticized, she was going to keep her free will, but that plan backfired. Also, she let Eggman go in issue 200. Remember issue 200 when Eggman was just completely broken down? He was completely vulnerable. Sally could have came in and ended him right then and there, or took him to justice or something. What did she end up doing? She pretty much left him in Snively's care, which Eggman even brought up in issue 225. Okay, he even gloats. You had me there. You had me at issue 200. You had me, but you didn't do it. You share your father's naiveness. That's a flaw right there. She could have ended it, but she didn't. Another reason I say that she has flaws, another reason why I say that she has flaws is because some of them can actually relate to other people. Not in the comics, but in the real world. Now, let me explain. Before you guys throw hissy fits, or some of you guys, because I know there are a lot of people who are Sally fans. But the ones who aren't, let me explain something for you. Let me rap with you. Wow, I just said that. That's pretty sad. But let me explain what I mean. Have you or anyone you know ever lived life a certain way or style for out of the blue things to just change on you? And at times it could be too much to handle. What about people who have a stressful day at work or a stressful day at school, come home and have to deal with even more stress? That's enough to build up and cause a person to freak out. Okay? That will cause someone to literally freak out if that stress isn't checked. For Sally, it really wasn't checked. It just kept building up. What about relationships, you ask? Have you ever liked more than one person and couldn't decide on who to choose, or have conflicting feelings with someone else while possibly going out with someone? If you said no to all this, or if everyone said no to this, then all this cheating bullshit wouldn't be an issue. People going out with other people, infidelity, cheating, all that would not be a fucking issue. My point, ladies and gentlemen, is that some of you could actually see where Sally is coming from. She has flaws. She denied the source of all, for instance. Now, if some of you don't remember or didn't read, I'll explain. The source of all was an omnipotent and sentient pool. It's like golden pool, water, or whatever, that technically created the universe. Yes, the source of all that you're looking at in this picture that Sally's about to jump into created the universe. This is where the sword of acorns and the crown of acorns was made, from the source of all. The thing is, only the Acorn family can use this because they're the only ones that had access to it. When a future ruler turns 10 years old, the predecessor is supposed to bring the successor down to the pool area, and they are submerged into the pool, and they gain incredible knowledge and wisdom. It was also supposed to pick your future spouse. So imagine that. Imagine a pool telling you who you're going to marry. As well as provide counsel to the Acorn family during times of crisis. But Sally denied the source of all, saying that she wants to choose her own destiny. She doesn't want destiny to choose for her. Does that make her Mary Sue? For wanting to choose her own life to live instead of going by what others told her or what destiny tells her she has to do? Her father did it. Her grandfather did it, and so forth and so forth. When they first found the pool, she didn't do it. And for those of you who say this would never happen in the games, first understand something. Sega Sonic characters, mainly Sonic, have mandates that cannot be broken. So there is really no room for them to grow. You hear me? They may be able to get more wiggle room with Tails, Amy, Knuckles, etc. But Sonic? Yeah, right. Good luck with that. And it's these mandates that affect Sonic in the comic as well. Because let's talk about Sonic for a second. Yes, what about Sonic? I can easily say Sonic has had a lot of Mary Sue, or excuse me, Gary Stewish moments himself. First off, Sonic almost always gets his way. Look at what he did to Tails when he started to date Fiona. Yes, I know Tails was never dating Fiona, but Sonic knew how much Tails loved her. And tell me, is that something you would do to someone who you consider your little brother and best friend? Even when Tails gets on him about cracking on him, remember when they were fighting in House of Cards Part 2? Tails is actually complaining and said, you always joke on me and you always crack on me. What does Sonic have to say about it? Let's just see. What does he have to say about it? He says, dude, I do that to everyone. So, yeah, he cracks on everyone, friend or foe. Sure, he did think about it a little bit, like the way he treated his friends, specifically Antoine, in issue 235. But, again, he was feeling guilty. But, again, he can get off, and Sally can't? Let's look at this, for example, with Sonic. In issue 200, the milestone that caused Eggman to crack, Sonic completely owned Eggman in that fight. At least it didn't look so one-sided in issue 50's Endgame, where it was Sonic versus Robotnik. At least it didn't look one-sided. It looked evenly matched. You didn't know who was going to win. I mean, yes, I know Eggman did the same thing in issue 75, but at the same time, Eggman isn't perfect. We all know this. Now, for a moment, people, just imagine if Sonic was replaced in that fight, and it was Sally instead of Sonic fighting Eggman, and she used her wits, no Nicole, no super speed, no Deus Ex, but she used her own wits to beat Eggman. I bet you some of you would be calling her a Mary Sue like no fucking tomorrow now, would you? The point is, Sonic is a type of guy who tells jokes and makes fun of everyone to hide his own problems. Sonic is headstrong and reckless. He relies too much on his speed, and that's his worst trait. He thinks he's invincible because he's faster than anyone on the planet. He doesn't suffer any social anxiety because he makes friends with everyone. And I do mean everyone. Even his rivals are his friends. Sonic gets his way. Girls fall in love with him. His rivals and enemies, especially Eggman, you all know that, are obsessed with him and want to prove their power to Sonic. Not to mention all the times he was brainwashed, roboticized, went against authority, etc., etc. I went through that in the last topics. But all of that, Sonic still comes out on top. But again, Sally's the Mary Sue here? I think you guys need to go ahead and look at some of these issues again and look at Sonic a little bit more before you go ahead and call one person a Mary Sue when other characters in the comic have done Mary Sue or Gary Stewart things. One thing I like about this pairing, whether they're a couple or whether they're just friends together on a mission, Sally balances Sonic out. Since he's reckless and she thinks before she acts. Well, most of the time. But she's not smart. She has Nicole do everything for her. Oh yeah. Well, you tell me something, viewers. Tell me something. Name one person you know that can go 10 to 15 minutes without looking at their or using their computer, PDA, smartphone, tablets, iPods, whatever, to help them with any task. And that includes listening to music too, because technically you're using that to aid you to listen to music. So, name one person. But Sasuke, she hogs the comic. When? When was the last time, besides issue 247, she played a big role? What? Issue 239? That was what? 8 issue? She was gone for, she really didn't show her all like that for 8 months? How is she hogging the comic? And at the same time, how did she hog the book? I don't see how she hogged the book. Everybody had at least a backstory or an issue focused around them or their family or whatever. Every freedom fighter or whatever, or main character, side character, whatever, has had at least an issue devoted to them. Look it up if you don't believe me, but every character has. So why the bash on Sally? But Sasuke, she knows all this stuff, and she's a tactician and a diplomat, and she knows martial arts, and she's just too perfect. Okay, how? I don't see it. If you take a look at her backstory, and there are tons of issues that talk about her backstory as well as everybody else's, and I'm going to name a few of them. At least the ones that talk about her backstory, about her own character, not just the forming of the freedom fighters. So let's take a look at her backstories. She was trained to be a princess and future queen since day one. Remember, she's royalty. Royalty are going to teach their kids royalty stuff. Remember that. The duties of all the other stuff. They're going to teach you that. Okay? So, drop that. Even when they fled to Knothole and Sally was parentless, she was taught by Julayla. Now, I don't understand how she went from a cat to a squirrel or whatever. Artist, whatever, but yeah, these pictures you're looking at, one's a cat, one's a squirrel. Yeah, they're both Julayla. It's just that for some reason they changed their species whenever they did a backstory. I don't know. But anyway, this is Julayla. But anyway, Julayla, was a personal friend of the House of Acorn. Julayla taught Sally many important lessons, including diplomacy and philosophies. Not to mention royal duties of what she would need to do once she became queen, I should say, because she was already a princess. So, let's just continue going before I go on with this. Now, being taught diplomacy and philosophies helped shape Sally into the leader and tactician she is today. Julayla also taught Sally combat skills, such as her trademark flip back kick. So, yeah, she was taught that as a child. Now, for years, Julayla was charged with holding on to a special acorn with the royal signet, a ring, I should say, which she used to test Sally, by having Sally try to snatch it out of her hands. But Sally always failed at this task. On Julayla's deathbed, Sally figured out how to get the ring, and after she accomplished this task, Julayla was proud, knowing that she had taught Sally well, and Sally was ready for the challenges ahead, and she said her goodbyes to Sally before passing away. Julayla also left Sally with many of her possessions, including a hope chest, which was not supposed to be to Sally's until her wedding day. Among the things in this chest was her trademark blue vest, which is why she always wears it, people. That's why she always wears that vest. So, again, how is this being perfect? As a ruler, you have to learn diplomacy and other things to make sure you will be ready to rule when your time as ruler comes. Also, take a moment to think about it for a second. If you were trained to perform certain tasks for 10 plus years, because I believe Sally was, 5 when they began to teach her all of this stuff? Wouldn't you be proficient at it? Take me, for example. Yes, take good old Sasuke 419, for example. I've been drawing since I was 2 years old. I'm 27 now. Since I was trained in art for 25 years, it shows in my artwork. There's still things I have to learn, but still, it shows. Something you're trained to do. So it's not about Sally being a Mary Sue. It's about not understanding her character. Or hating her because Sonic isn't going to go out with the person, or because Sonic is going out with Sally, or Sonic's not going out with Amy. Sonic's not going out with Mina. I'm mad at Sally because of this. That's ridiculous to me. Why hate on a character just because of that? I could go on a little tangent, but I'm not going to, because that treads in the Naruto stuff, and I'm not even going to get into that. Now, my last topic I'm going to discuss is her new design. And oh my god, I had no idea it was going to get this heated. I seen her new design. People ask me what I thought about it. Personally, I think it's okay. Seriously, guys, I really do think it's okay. Just because Sally isn't naked anymore, she doesn't look the way she originally does. So what? Look, I'm happy she's still in the comic. Okay? Because I got nervous for a second. Sally roboticized, Antoine in a coma, Bunnie dips on everybody. I was afraid for the Freedom Fighters or Sally Acorn Crew's, place in the comic. I was a little nervous. But the fact is that she's coming back. She just has a new design. At the same time, this is not her final design. This was a sketch they showed at Comic-Con. It's not her official final design. So I'm not concerned with it. I'm really not. If that's the way she wants to look, fine. Now I know some of you do believe, why would she wear the clothes of the outfit that she wore when she was roboticized and may give her a constant memory? Honestly, I don't know. We'll figure out where that goes when she gets de-roboticized and her thoughts on things. Because you already know she's going to be depressed. She's probably going to remember everything she's done. And obviously she's going to feel bad about it. You know this. We all know this. So this has pretty much been Sally Acorn in a nutshell. I know this has been a very long video. I know it has. But after all this, you know what I believe? I believe people just hate on her because other people are hating on her. I really do believe some people who really don't look into the backstory or read back issues, you just look at Sally and see why people hate her for specific reasons. Oh, Amy's not going out with Sonic, but Sally is. Sally married Antoine and he tried to make the best of it. Or, I don't know, slap her around Mobius. I think people just look at those reasons and hate on her because of that without actually getting invested, without actually going back and looking at her character. And that's really sad. That really is. So I took Sally's character down. I tried to do the best I could. There is so much stuff about Sally. I truly hope I was able to shed some light on Sally Acorn. And hopefully you guys would come to respect her, or at least not have so much hate on her. I know there's been so many Sally videos that actually hate on her or defend her, but I tried to break it down as best I could. Yes, maybe this may seem a little biased to me. I'm a Sally fan. And at the same time, while I do at times question issue 134, maybe there have been a valid reason for it. Maybe. I mean, I tried my best, guys. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope you guys can really understand Sally's character. And maybe so much of this hate wouldn't go on. Now, I know some people are still going to hate on her. But you know what? I did my best. Show other people this video. Get it around. Maybe other people will have different opinions. I would love to hear your opinions on it. I'm waiting for it. I already know certain people on YouTube are going to make a reply to this video. I already know. There's a couple in general I'm just waiting for. But anyway, guys, Sasuke419 here. Thank you for waiting. I know it's been a year since this. I know I feel like Link Carr for waiting so long, but again, guys, I was just so busy. Now that I'm a college graduate, I don't have to worry about it no more. Let me know what you think my next Sonic topic should be, and I can get it out faster. I heard one person wanted me to talk about the Ken Pender's lawsuit, which sounds interesting. Tell me what you guys want to hear, and I'll go at it from there. Be on the lookout for my future videos again. Guys, thank you. Sasuke419 here. Have a good one. And please, don't hate Sally just for stupid ass reasons. Actually have legitimate reasons, and I would love to hear them. Please. Anyway, guys, thank you. Have a good one.